Right about now, we delve into our main conversation for the morning, and on set, we are actually joined by Kamwala Ward 5 Councillor, Mr. Simataa, to come and talk about various issues actually surrounding his ward. So, Mr. Simataa, thank you so much for being part of the breakfast show today. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning, and good morning to the viewers out there.
Okay. So, first of all, how is the ward? How is your ward doing in Kamwala?
Well, Kamwala right now has got a serious water crisis. As you are aware, Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company effected a 60-day shutdown.
Right.
And when that was effected, we were assured that the company would continue to supply water, though in a rationed manner. Houses would continue receiving water maybe for 8 to 12 hours in a day. But what has happened is that schedule has totally been thrown off and thrown out the window. Because since the shutdown began, almost 50% of houses and residential dwellings in my ward, and that even includes critical facilities like markets, like Kamwala Market, for instance, and also schools and clinics, are experiencing a serious water shortage. So that now has led to a lot of suffering in the ward, and that has kept me very busy, because now I always have to be chasing after Lusaka Water to try and get whatever bowser they have available to supply water to these affected residents. And we can't manage, because the whole Lusaka only has 2 water bowsers for Lusaka Water, and it has to be shared between 38 wards. So you imagine the stress which is on that particular machine. It comes only maybe 2 or 3 times in a week. And other residents really have to depend on those that have boreholes. Their neighbors, maybe you find the nearest borehole maybe is a kilometer or so from where they're staying. So it's caused a lot of hardship. And last weekend, or should I say yesterday, we had to use emergency fire services from Osaka City Council just to ensure to say that we supply Lubama Market with about 20,000 liters of water. Because you know, a market, if there is no water, it means the toilets have to be shut down.
Right.
And when the toilets are shut down, it means you close the market. And I can't remember that ever happening. So that is the situation which we find ourselves in. And we are requesting, we've made formal requests to the DMMU, because the DMMU is an emergency response unit.
Right.
We've made requests. It's now over a week. We are yet to get feedback on that, because Lusaka Water alone cannot manage. They do not have the resources or the manpower to cope with the situation. Okay.
Mr. Simataa, first of all, when they actually just announced the water situation, that it would actually be shut down for 60 days, just so they could repair the Lolanda plant that we're actually working on. So they did announce to say water is going to be going, in different areas in Lusaka for several hours. But according to your explanation right now, there is actually lack of water. So is it just for long hours, or maybe you're actually experiencing days of no water?
Karen, there are houses or residential areas, like for instance in Kamwala South, Bob's Corner area, Latson, Mapushi area, down near Happy Kids, that have not received water ever since when the shutdown began, like today it has started. The taps ran dry, totally dry, not even a drop. Even as we speak, it's been dry like that. But we also have New Kamwala, which is closer to the CBD. It also has no water. Even the market itself, Lubaba Market now, it's also not having water. So that is a crisis now, which has become an emergency. Because if people do not have water for prolonged periods, you know what that means to toilets. You know what that means to those that have children. We are actually risking the lives of people by not coming up with adequate remedial measures. Water bowsers are not enough, like I've stated. What we need is emergency response relief through DMMU. And we even have the 5% contingency fund under the CDF, which is meant for disasters like this. But I can tell you frankly here, and I want the listeners there to know, that we are hindered in terms of the processes. The process just to request for an emergency fund, either if you're getting it through the CDF or through DMMU, it is long. They will tell you, no, first you have to send our officers on the ground to go and assess the situation. The fact is there's no water. So why are people going to take 1 or 2 weeks to assess the situation? What are you assessing?
Have they started the assessment program?
I do not know. My office hasn't been informed. You see, If we have to go to the CDF route, it means you and me have to sit in a meeting and agree that we have no water. When we know that we don't have water, but the process demands that you and me, we sit, we have a meeting where there is no water and discuss to say, okay, what is the situation here? Oh, we have no water. Okay, let's agree. Let's sign minutes. Then we submit those minutes to the Ward Development Committee chairperson. They sign. Then the Constituency Development Committee has to approve what you have agreed. So they also have to sit with their technical team to say, let's verify if really people have no water. It will take maybe a week before they sit. From there, it goes to the town clerk. From the town clerk, it goes to the provincial offices to sign off. By the time that money will be coming, Yolanda one will already be online and will have water. So that is the crisis that we have of processes inhibiting emergency response and at times even inhibiting development.
Looking at your situation right now, the situation in your ward, rather, Mrs. Simataa, is actually quite bad, and it's very sad, especially for the people, experiencing this whole thing. Now, how is this really affecting your people in Kamwala South?
I can tell you it's really difficult because you have to make difficult decisions as a ward leader. The residents are looking up to you for water relief. They're looking up to you for solutions, and it's difficult to tell some people to say, here is the water bowser, they have seen it pass, and you tell them you can't get water because we've only been given 2 hours of water supply for this bowser to be in a particular ward. So it's very difficult, it's very sad, and it gives me sleepless nights, in as much as it also gives those people sleepless nights, because I can tell you, people queue up at 01 just to, get a dish there by the tap, hoping that those jobs, by the time you wake up, the dish will be full. That is what people are going through. Others are being charged by their neighbors who have got water boreholes. They tell you, look, we are using electricity for the pump, this water borehole might deplete, so they're being charged. Now, imagine if you have no water, or rather, if you have no money to pay for that borehole. Or imagine a situation where these residential areas didn't have boreholes. How are people going to survive? Because this is a very critical situation whereby if left to go on as it is, sooner or later, we are going to have reports of cholera breaking out. Already typhoid has been reported in some areas. Last week we even had to supply water to Maxwell Sibongo police station. Now, if there was no water at the police station, you know what that means? The police station has to close down. What will happen to the crime rate? So there are all kinds of issues surrounding the water crisis that are not really specifically water related, but they're also security concerns, because if the police station doesn't have water, it causes crime goes up. If a healthcare institution doesn't have water, it closes down. Diseases will break out. People want to receive a service. The market, if it closes down because it doesn't have water, people have to go home. And you know how hard times are. How are people going to trade? How are they going to feed their families? So there is a whole lot of security, social, and economic ramifications when water isn't supplied in good time and in good quantities. That's why we say water is life. Without water, even the economy would come to a standstill. So that is what we are trying, by all means, to alleviate in the ward, and it hasn't been easy.
Now, looking at, you said you've already written to the necessary institution, among them being the DMMU, and so far you actually haven't gotten any concrete, response yet. Your office has not been engaged for anything. What other quick solutions would you maybe suggest for your ward, Kamwala and South? Like, what quick solutions can you suggest for them at this particular time, looking at the issue that they're facing of having no water?
The solutions are there, but they're not quick. Aside from the DMMU, we have a 5% contingency fund under the CDF, which amounts to about 700,000 or so, which is money which is meant for emergencies. Okay, but I can tell you, when we had the floods, we requested for the same 5% contingency fund. It never came through. We wrote letters, I have copies I can show you. We requested during the floods to say, we have a serious flood situation, can we have this money released? That money wasn't released.
But were your letters responded to?
No, they were not responded to. It was the president that responded. When the president responded, everyone now fell in line. That's when we even saw GMMU coming on the scene, because the president intervened. And you know the president is a very busy person. We can't always burden him with matters that can be sorted at a local authority level, or that can be sorted at a DMMU level. So one of the solutions is DMMU. We are still waiting. Maybe we'll wait for the next 6 days. I do not know. The other solution is through the 5% contingency fund, where I've told you to say that before you can get that money, you and me have to sit down and agree that we have no water, even though we've been living with water for 2 weeks. The community has to agree that we have no water. After that, the CGF committee also sits and assesses. Then the technocrats, the technical committee and the CGF, they also sit. They come in, the new procured land cruisers go around and also verify to say there is no water. Then they go and sit. They agree, they sign, then they send that document to the province. The province also looks, maybe even sends their officers also to come and see the situation. After that, it now goes for approval at the Attorney General, because that money is government money. So the Attorney General has to sign and consent to say, yes, you can release this government money. Meanwhile, the Attorney General also has files like this for other CDF projects that are waiting to be signed. And yours comes now, it is. So you understand, it's a solution, but it's not a quick one. The quickest solution, and I'm afraid this now comes down back on us as residents, is to contribute money to hire private water bowsers. And that is an option which I'm looking at. And now, I don't know how people are going to take it, because they know there's a CGF emergency fund. Then I go to them and ask them to say, let us contribute my 50 kwacha so that we can hire a private water bowser.
I mean, is that something they can even manage to do? Because as it is, people are complaining of the hardships of the economy already. Now, asking them to contribute for water, is that something they can afford? Of
course, it's a burden on them. It's a burden on all of us. But what choice do we have if we are not getting response from the GMMU? If the process to get to the 5% contingency fund from the council takes maybe 3 or 4 weeks, are we going to stay without water? What we have at the moment is just one water bowser that is going through, and I've told you, it can't manage to facilitate for all the houses. I've received over 56 requests, different hotspots where there are no water. Yesterday, I only serviced 4. So the 52 feel like, I'm letting them down. Because we have a council every time we are seeing you posting pictures about you. Well, here you have never come here. How do you make people understand why you are seen with a water bowser almost every 2 or 3 days, but you've never been to their doorstep? It's a difficult burden, but that burden is there because institutions that are supposed to lighten this burden and also intervene are not intervening. When water isn't supplied in good time and in good quantities, that's why we say water is life. Without water, even the economy would come to a standstill. So that is what we are trying by all means to alleviate in the ward, and it